Arjuna and Bhima. So she sent a message. What was the message, you know? Edat dhananjayo vachyo nityodhyukto mrigodaraha yadartham kshatriya sude tasya kalo yamagadaha. Carry this message to my children. Edat dhananjayo vachyo. Of the 5 sons of Pandu, Arjuna had a distinct fame. He was the best of the archer, bowman. He was called Dhananjaya. That was a famous name he had acquired. So my son Dhananjaya should be told in this manner. And another person is Bhima. Nityo yukto vrakodaraha. Nityo yukto vrakodaraha. Ever since Panjali's sari, Draupadi's sari was pulled, Bhima was raging in fear. He had given a promise. I would kill this man, Duryodhana. And after killing him, I will come with my blood-full hand and tie your hair. This is what he had told Draupadi. And Draupadi was waiting for it. So Kunti Devi was reminding him subtly in that manner about it, and she was saying, Edat dhananjayo vachyo nityo yukto mrigodaraha yadartham kshatriya sude tasya kalo yamagataha. For what purpose Kshatriya women give birth to men, boys? That purpose is to be fulfilled now. The Kshatriya men are not supposed to remain in home or look after a job of administration. They are supposed to go to the open battlefield where right in front and around enemy camps could be there. They are supposed to display their valor and get their reputation. This is what they are meant for. So that purpose is to be fulfilled now. Go and tell them. Why am I saying all these things? Our mind can develop to any extent. Let us not be fearful. We are not killing anybody. Somebody happens to die. What shall we do? We are living in a body and in a world without paying any rent. We don't pay any rent for our body. It's a residence for us. It is designed by the biological laws of nature. One day it will fall. If it falls in time, it is very good. Suppose it refuses to fall, then also there is problem. There are old people who refuse to die. Such instances also are there. I would like some of the people known to us to have redemption, release as soon as possible. Everything is gone, but somehow the life forces do not depart from the body. They are groaning, they are lying in pain, unable to speak, unable to swallow, even then. So I think we must have a broad mind. Devotion is meant for what? To completely rely upon God. Rely upon God. He looks after the world. He looks after us individually. He looks after everything. So let us understand it very, very clearly. Very, very clearly. So this world is an illusion. This illusory world, how to understand it? Though Srimad Bhagavatam says it, Krishna explains it, elucidates it, and your Swamiji also explains it perhaps sufficiently well. Even then, our mind is refusing to transform. So what should be done? Herein lies the role of devotion. The role of devotion. Devotion is a mighty practice, a pursuit. I would like to describe it as a powerful application. What did I say? Powerful application. You have to apply devotion to your mind. What is the method of applying devotion to your mind? There are many methods. So Kavi speaks about what? Listen to it very carefully. Though Kavi spoke so much philosophically and spiritually in a very subtle manner, he comes down to the bodily and the emotional level. All that I am speaking is not merely philosophical, it is also very emotional and very interactional. So the international plane he comes to. Shrinvan subhadrani rathangavane janmani karmani jayani loge gitani namani tadarthagani gayan vilajjo vichare asanga. Just see, Parikshit is the listener. And Shugamuni is the exponent. Shugamuni came here almost by chance, but he was rambling and meandering and traveling in the world, in our country. When he happened to hear that Parikshit has undertaken a Prayogavesha and only 7 days are available for him, he decided to come and help him by the narration. A boy 16 years old, he had come. 16 years old, with no apparel on his body. All the entire assembly suddenly comprehended, suddenly recognized how great this youngster was. He was actually a spiritual hippie. All of them got up. Parikshit prostrated before him, invited him to take the seat and asked him to continue the narration. What was being done by a Pandit or a scholar or a Sudha till then. So that's Shugamuni. What did he do? How could he behave in this manner? Because of the inner creation in the hands of devotion. Because of the ecstasy, the fullness, the abundance, the fullness, the inner splendor he was able to enjoy and experience. So he comes here, he says, Shrinvan Subhadrani Rathangavane Janmani Karmani Jayani Loke Gitani Namani Tadarthagani Gayan Vilajjo Vichare Asangaha. This is being narrated to Uddhava finally. Everybody is hearing it. Shrinvan Subhadrani Rathangavane. Rathangavani means Mahavishnu. The Supreme Lord, who is no other than Parama Kalyana Nidhi. He is the treasure of supreme, inestimable felicity, boundless felicity. Parama Kalyana Nidhi. Shrinvan Subhadrani Rathangavane Janmani Karmani Jayani Loge. First of all, what you have to do, this is the application of devotion. When do you apply and how do you apply? Go to places where Srimad Bhagavatam and such other narrations are there. Are you interested? Will you ever go? Or maybe most of you, or if you go, I am very happy, I compliment all of you. Shrinvan, first of all you hear. You may not be in a position to open the book and read. It is in Sanskrit. You may not be able to read it. At least listen to it. Listen to it. Considering it to be a privilege, a fortune, a blessing, a great benediction for you. Never keep away from Srimad Bhagavatam narration and scenes. I am very sorry that we have 1.12 crores of, 112 crores of people in India. How many are listening to Srimad Bhagavatam? And what is the extent of loss that you are suffering from? Your monetary loss is no loss, but mental, moral, spiritual and philosophical loss is unmendable. My dear souls, please understand this. Shrinvan, first of all, be listening to Subhadrani, the most auspicious, Rathangavane, Janmani, Karmani, the various births, the various activities, exploits, excellences, adventures, which the Lord seems to have taken from time to time in the form of various incarnations. That is what Srimad Bhagavatam describes. Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, etc. Dashavatara is described there in various forms, not only as human beings, as a turtle, as a fish, as a boar, and so many other forms. Shrinvan Subhadrani Rathangavane Janmani Karmani Jayani Loge. In order to serve and protect this world, sustain this world, on so many occasions, the Supreme Lord, the Creator, Preserver and Destroyer, had to assume a number of manifestations. And through all these manifestations, which are felicitous in character, so many excellences he has performed. When there was a crisis, the nectar was stolen by the Asuras. flouting the agreement between Devas and Asuras? What could be done? It has been stolen by Asuras, by demons. They will start eating it now. Once they eat nectar, they will become unconquerable. The whole world will be in a crucible. What could be done? Nothing. Suddenly appeared a Mohini form there. Mohini means an enchanting form. The moment the form was seen, Asuras were the first to be enchanted. Devas were not so much enchanted. So she engaged them in a conversation, etc. and finally said, you yourself be our umpire for it. Can you imagine? You yourself be our umpire and start distributing it. Otherwise we will quarrel. Who will catch first? How much, etc. So she said, close your eyes and sit down. Took away the whole. It's a wonderful form. Artheshu abhignaswara. The Supreme Lord is never at a disadvantage. Whatever be the crisis, whatever be the enigma, He has got a solution for it. He will deliver it. He is not incompetent at all. There are instances when parents cannot look after the children. Parents cannot look after the children. They will say, these are my children, but we have no means to look after them. But God has never said. He is always the unconquerable, the unsurpassable. Nobody has been able to exceed Him. So, Janmani, Karmani, the various kinds of activity, adventure, excellence, etc. Yani loke, in this world He has manifested, He has come to reveal. Gitani namani tadarthagani. On the one hand, you listen to beautiful expositions from the various quarters by different people, listen to them. And at other times you start chanting the name of the Lord yourself. You may not be able to get always narration. Don't give a rest. Let the mouth be singing, singing, singing. Gitani namani tadarthagani. Gayan. Gitani, songs. Namani, names. Tadarthagani. Clearly indicating and referring to the glorious providential ways and providential excellences. Listen to them, listen to them. Gayan, sing them. Hare Rama Govinda Krishna Murare. Hare Rama Govinda Krishna Murare. Hare Rama Govinda Krishna Murare. See, without any shame, without any reservation, without any inhibition, without any doubt, you must be able to lend your heart, mind, tongue and prana to the pure utterance of God's name and songs. This is called application. Many of you will read books. You will also do some puja unseen by the others. When it comes to a question of singing aloud the name of the Lord, I think most of you will retreat. I like to hear. Arey, you like to sing also. At least in the bathroom you start it. Nobody will be there to disturb you. Gitani namani tadarthagani. Gayan, singing, vilajjo, without any shame. Vichare asangaha. Travel about. Travel in this world. Asangaha. Without any attachment. Are you hearing me? Huh? Gayan vilajjo vichare asangaha. Let the attachment, the delusional clinging that you have, to your body, to your family, to the world, to your position, to the money, to the property, to the other belongings. Are they yours or are they the world's? Suppose you construct a building, where is it standing? On the earth. Whose is the earth? God's. Then can the building be yours? Huh? Please answer me from your heart. You have a body. The body lives because the heart pumps and the lungs breathe. Making the heart and the lungs do their work, is it your job? Have you ever done it? Why are you saying the body is fine and the building is fine? Nonsense. Nonsense. Not becoming of a devotee at all. Identify everything as God's and you also as God's and live in this world freely. Achasanga. With your identification, you will only be able to move about within your house. If you lose your delusional clinging, you can move about freely in the whole world. You know, I am a Swami. I took up sannyasa maybe at the age of 23. I started my Parivrajaka life in Kerala. On the second day, people said, they put up 2 or 3 benches together and said, Swamiji, you speak to us. For the first time, I gave a public speech. I was not prepared to speak or anything like that. I started speaking on the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita in Chelakare. From then on, our Parivrajaka life was interfered. We continue to do Parivrajana, but as invited speakers to different areas and places. How is it that I was able to do it? Because I had no delusional clinging to my family. When we started our Parivrajaka life, you know, we went away taking no money. I was not wearing a banyan or a shirt, only a second cloth uttaniyam and a dhoti and a gautina, a thread for the waist. One spare set we had, 1 or 2 books also and a stick, we started wandering. When we started wandering without any money, neither the mother, nor the father, nor the brothers, sister-in-law or the others, none of them said, why are you going like this? They knew that we were sannyasis and we were supposed to wander in this world. But will you be able to wander? My dear viewers, answer me. Will you be able to wander? No, Swamiji, I have no money. My wife doesn't permit me to go. It is very disrespectful. If somebody knows that her husband has gone on a travel, they will start disrespecting her. This is the type of prestige that you have. And our prestige consists in traveling, moving, having nothing, nothing, nothing. Non-possession is our pursuit and want. Gayan vilajjo vicharet asangaha. When I say this, you may wonder, Swamiji is asking us all to travel without any money, without delusional clinging. Is it so? No, not at all. I don't want any one of you to travel like this. If you feel like, you may do. What did Parikshit do in front of Shukhamuni? He never got up from his seat. He was only sitting there. This is a mental interaction, my dear souls. Shukhamuni is explaining the profound truths of the mind and heart for the inner comprehension. Parikshit was devoutly listening to him, absorbing all the message, absorbing. In that absorption, the transformation came. I always say, imagine 5 liters of plain water. Start pouring one drop after the other milk into it. After some time, what will happen? What will happen? The water will vanish and the white color will appear more and more. Similarly is the transformation of our mind. That is what Parikshit had. We don't want the body to transfer. We don't want the body to go. Let it be where it is. But let the mind be divinized. Let the mind be spiritualized. Let the mind be devotionalized. Let the mind be muktiized. This is what we want. Gayan vilajjo vichareda sangaha Shanman subhadrani rathangapane Janmani karmani jayani loge Gitani namani tadarthagani Gayan vilajjo vichareda sangaha. I would like to take you to the last chapter in the 12th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Srimad Bhagavatam as a scripture is described for what it is. This is a verse I would like all of you to learn. Take it and learn. Srimad-Bhagavatam Puranamamalam Yad-Vaishnavānām Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsya Megamamalam Jnanam Param Gīyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahidam Naishkarmya Mahavishkrutam Tat Srinvan Vipathan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimucchen Naraha Srimad-Bhagavatam Puranamamalam. This Srimad-Bhagavatam is actually a Purana, a mythological composition. I would like to call it a compendium, a spiritual philosophical compendium. Srimad-Bhagavatam Puranamamalam. What is its nature? Amala. It is most immaculate. Every bit and piece of it, if you are able to see, hear, understand or assimilate, will make you imbibe purity irresistibly. Irresistibly. Srimad-Bhagavatam Puranamamalam Yad Vaishnavānām Priyam. For the devotees of Lord Vishnu, it is extremely dear, very, very dear. Yasmin, in which text? Paramahamsya Megamamalam Jnanam Param Gīyate. In this Srimad-Bhagavata, what is sung? Gīyate, sung. What? Paramahamsya Egam Amalam Jnanam Param Gīyate. Whatever is sung here is actually Amalam Jnanam, Param Jnanam, the supreme wisdom. How many times shall I say this, my dear viewers? Param Jnanam. This is the one knowledge that you have to acquire as a human to fulfill your life, to edify your life, glorify your life, stabilize your life, fulfill your life. Nothing else is going to fulfill. Any extent of money, property, relationships, friends and the others, or even acclaim the glories of the other world when you shed your body. Nothing is going to bring fulfillment to the human heart and human mind. Only by wisdom, spiritual wisdom. Param Jnanam Amalam, very pure, immaculate. Paramahamsya Megamamalam. This is the jnana which the Paramahamsas, the liberated souls, cherish and nourish in their system, in their body. See, what is it that we are sannyasins doing? We cherish the wisdom, spiritual wisdom. We cherish it. We try to speak about it. We try to hear about it. We try to think about it. Our life is all that, all this and this alone. Nothing else. It makes the Hamsa, the individual soul, the Paramahamsa, the supreme level it raises to. Paramahamsya Megamamalam Jnanam. This Paramahamsya Jnana, supreme wisdom, alone is sung in this verse, in this scripture. Nothing else. So for all these, all people who say Srimad-Bhagavatam is a devotional text, in the conclusion, the author himself describes its nature, character and reward. Yasmin Paramahamsya Megamamalam Jnanam Param Gīyate. How is it exposed? Tatra, in that text, Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahidam Naishkarmya Mahavishkrutam. In this text, what is presented? Naishkarmya. It's a word which every one of you Indians should know. Naishkarmya. We are ceaselessly active. You are employed in government and other areas. And finally what happens? When you are 60, you are asked to honorably retire. So at the end of life, what is it? Retirement. Finally at the end of life, what is it? Retirement from the world, retirement from embodiment. So Naishkarmya means that state where you reach when you feel that I have nothing more to do in this world, nothing more to gain in this world, and nothing I shall lose from this world. It's a state of fulfillment, where no more craze, no more craving, no more compulsion, no more persuasion for doing anything whatsoever. This Naishkarmya Siddhi is considered to be the supreme in spiritual life. So that Naishkarmya is advocated here, explained here.